Welcome to the geographic farming plan for this upcoming year. Okay, I just had to finalize some slides, so I'm slightly behind, but we're getting there. And this one might slightly be my favorite training of all because it's like the 30,000 foot overview, right? It's the one where people always ask, I want to get started with farming, what do I do? And I want to shockingly tell you that I simply execute the plan I put out to do. I don't question my plan. It sounds so stupidly simple. And I got like this weird little like light beam coming down. I tried to fix it too, but just assume it's like a halo coming down. I don't know. Okay, so what we got today is about 150 some slides. So there's a lot to get through. I am going to give you a resource for notes because what I use is literally what I'm going to give you for business planning today. I'm also going to make sure my notifications go off. So highly recommend you're going to put a do not disturb on your phone. My phone keeps buzzing. So got that. All right. I'm going to make those a little bigger. Hello from Columbus, Ohio, Glendale, Arizona, VA Beach, Virginia, Brownfield, Texas, North Dallas. I actually might be in Dallas this upcoming year again. Atlanta. All right. So Athens, Georgia. Hello. All right. Mapping out your farming plan is so fun, in my opinion, because it takes so much of the overwhelm out, okay? I'd like vision boards. So part of this too, we're not going to do a vision board here, but if you are a vision board person, I would highly encourage you to do one. If you are not a vision board person and you're wondering what is all that nonsense, I want you to go and pull up case studies of how athletes actually are training. The human mind is a very powerful thing. Visualization and keeping your eyes right on the prize is huge when it comes to actually making it happen. Okay, not sticking a business plan in the drawer. That's not going to work. So of course, we have created a little bit of a takeaway. So for those of you that are saying, okay, I need the info on a lot of this is the only time I'm going to show you this one. So make sure you text the word plan to 844-950-3580, which is the phone number for the hyperlocal agent that we use to deliver all of our freebies. And again, that's the word plan, 844-950-3580. A lot of this is on here as well. So there's freebie number 1 for you. So you have a roadmap, even if you have to hop off early. Fair? Okay. Now, I talk to a lot of agents and they all want to become the go-to agent in their neighborhood. However, so many of them get stuck on making it too complicated or wanting things to be perfect, okay? I'm going to break down in this class with zero overwhelm, everything step by step. There's a lot of steps, okay? And if you're wondering, okay, is this going to be recorded? I see Linda is asking. Yes, it is. Somebody says no sound. I have sound. Looks like everybody else has sound. Robert, you may have to, hop back. Okay. So we're going to make sure that you have the step by step, and people are asking me to go back one more slide. There you go. Okay, make sure everybody's settled up. I will type it in the comments and blend it in. So text the word plan. Okay, I'll blend it in for a little while so you guys have it. Again, yes, there's a replay. There's also screenshots. Thanks for confirming we have sound, because I've had a whole lot of sound trouble. I got myself some sleeping headphones because I like to listen to things when I go to sleep. And they tend to connect to my computer, which then means I have no sounds when I do trainings, which is like crazy, but anyhow. Okay, so there it is. Text the word plan. This way you have it. I'm going to go and move through a little bit. So lots of steps. Okay, if you don't have a notebook in front of you, I'm going to show you one that we like to use. Disclaimer, obviously, educational, informational purposes. You heard me say all the states. I am personally a licensed instructor in the state of Illinois, not wherever you guys are, okay? So for that fact, I have to tell you, be a good steward of your license and do the right things. Sounds pretty simple, right? All right, if we haven't met, how many of you are brand new here? I'm your host for today. My name is Janine, and I do teach free lunch and learns, which we are kind of hijacking one of my lunch and learns today for this one here. But every single week I teach a lunch and learn on the topic of direct mail and geographic farming, completely free, by the way, on our website. So for those of you who have wondered, where can I find resources? Well, there is a training company called the Hyperlocal Agent. I am the owner and founder of that one, and I started to compile all the trainings, all the resources for geographic farming. It is literally the #1 compiled resource out there on anything farming related. So if you haven't poked around the website, go ahead and have a look. It's a lot of fun. Do that afterwards though. And I really realized that when I helped other agents across the nation become their go-to neighborhood agent, their hyper-local agent people know, I had better agents to refer my clients to across the country. I also realized that these agents were actually the ones going on listing appointments prior to an algorithm picking that up, right? They were the ones going on the listing appointments, having the intel of what was about to come on the market. And I don't know about you, but I'm a licensed agent, not just a licensed instructor, and being in the trenches, you get a little annoyed when people think our listings are their property. We work really, really hard for what we do. So what better way to take back control than to build a hyperlocal agent network of agents who know their neighborhood inside, outside, backwards, however you want to call it, right? That is truly where we have been making our mark, and it's been nothing but amazing for that referral network to come together. Now, today, here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to talk about the real estate plan that actually fits on one page, okay? One page. And I'm going to show it to you. It's kind of like in a calendar format. We're going to go through creating that calendar. It is like at a glance. It's amazing. You love it, promise. And we're going to talk about the only 5 mailers that matter really in your farm. And we're going to talk about micro campaigns with mega impact, because there's a whole lot of strategy when it comes to geographic farming. There is not a whole lot of emotional fluffiness to this one. So again, this is relationship based. This is also number based. And this is really, really working well. I want to tell you about this in a minute. So my goal here is really to take complicated stuff out of the equation, right? And I want to leave you with a geographic farming action plan for this year, in the hopes that one day you're going to be like, this is amazing. I'm so busy. I need a system. And you and I get to do business together one day. Okay. For today, I just need you to have a plan, because if you don't have a farm, all of this down the road will become pointless, right? So I need to make sure that you are set up and you are taking action. So here's why I do all of this, okay? So lots of action steps. If you like a workbook, highly recommend it. It's a no opt-in required download. All of our classes have the option for you to get a workbook. There's additional resources always on the back. But again, this is just optional. If you have a piece of paper, you are good to go as well. For those of you that want the workbook, it's the hyperlocalagent.com/workbook, and you can just straight up Google Drive download, print it out, and just use it for our classes. So some of you know I'm a mom, okay? Bribery is totally not beneath me. It's like literally my jam. If I need something done, I'll bribe my kids. And I want to bribe you with a secret segment that will not be on the replay if you stay on live. Fair? Probably not, because you're like, no, not fair. But hey, got to do something to keep attention these days, right? We're going to talk about really a lot of real things. How I'm going to set up my entire business. You're going to start seeing me in the next upcoming months executing everything we talked about today, okay? All I do is implement and execute. Literally taking out all that overthinking and overanalyzing and what should I do is all gone, okay? You have a plan, you execute it. I have had agents literally just stealing my plan, stealing meaning that in a good way. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those today too. Now, a lot of you are sitting here. Many of you will not do anything. Hurts my heart. I don't know why that is, but it happens every year. And I know that you all came here with good intentions, right? So sometimes, however, you feel like you want to do something, and then January rolls around, February rolls around, and you're like totally behind, right? And that feeling is really what we're trying to combat by making a plan. Let me tell you a little bit about my good intentions. I had really good intentions to get my Christmas card out on time. I was a week late, okay? And a big part of this was because I tried to do all of these things manually, okay? So it happens. It's okay. It still got done at the end of the day. It didn't get done on time, but it got done. So show of hands, who got their plan for this upcoming year completely done? Like 100% done. You know what's happening, okay? Because generally it's not me until the very last minute. Like I like to procrastinate. And what do I do the last few weeks? I decorate my house, I celebrate Christmas with my family, and I relax and take it all in. And in this case, I get to host trainings, right? But believe me, January 1st rolls around and it's game on. So successful geographic farms are all over the US. I have had a hand in many of these, and today's training is truly for the action-based stuff, not the theory, not the, oh, this sounds good in a book. This is a matter of actually doing what's out there. So some examples here. This one was one of our early ones that we've had generating six figures since joining the Mailer Clinic, which now became the group that we use for GeoCentral. This one here is an update on one of our case studies, 14 closed deals in her farm alone, not accounting for any other business. And a big part is that she installed a system for it. It's mind-blowing what can happen. So again, I got into real estate for freedom. I don't know how many of you guys are in here, but generally freedom money is a big, big motivator, right? I wanted to be home with my two kids, realized that this business was very time consuming, mentally challenging, sometimes just downright exhausting, and honestly a little lonely, okay? So something needed to change. I went in on farming and becoming the neighborhood agent because I felt really, really comfortable knowing my neighborhood. How many of you are comfortable in your neighborhood, right? I have a farm of about 5,700 households combined. Again, two young kids. I wrote 4 Amazon best-selling books, all on the topic of, one is for selling your home. The other 3 are all on the topic of direct mail. And there's a 4th one about neighborhood events, which I will tell you about today. Now, my market share continues to grow. Even in declining markets, my market share grew. And when people start to have you top of mind for real estate, magical things happen. It compounds the longer you do it. So some real talk here, some real numbers in case you would like to look me up. If you're in my marketplace, by all means, feel free to look up my numbers. If you are not in my marketplace, feel free to go on Zillow. Again, I think it's a big issue in the industry that we have people trying to teach and sell without actually having a background in what real life looks like, what real markets look like, and strategies that worked about 10 years ago and not today anymore. Because, I teach you Facebook ads the way Facebook ads worked 10 years ago. It's not going to work like this today. So I'm building hopefully a little bit of trust. We are collecting everybody from the last stragglers coming in. And with that said, let's dive in. There's a lot to cover. And the first one is really the real estate plan that actually fits on one page. So that business plan itself, you guys can get access to the exact same business plan I use. It goes through step by step how I lay out my plan, what I look at in my business. And that is the word business plan to 844-950-3580. So if you've already texted for the cheat sheet, you can just text the word business plan now to the same number, and then you will get this delivered. And again, all the numbers I'm sharing today, they're my own, okay? I'm a solo agent. I think it's important that we normalize our numbers again. Not, I sold 160 houses this year, because you and I both know that that is pretty much impossible on your own. Normal numbers, we should really be proud of them. I don't know how many people need to hear that on here. I hope some of you do. I know some of you do. But normalizing, that is an important part, okay? So one of the questions around is most of your business now by referral, or do you still prospect for business? I do exactly what I'm going to share you every single day. Like, this is where my business still comes from. I do not sit back and just have agents hand me business because now they know me. I do everything I'm going to show you today, which is why this is very different than what most training calls towards the end of the year are. Okay. So again, this is my real business plan for this upcoming year. I brought you real examples from my postcards, okay? Not something that I think would be nice to send, something that I actually send out. And I'm gonna lay out that path that has worked for me, and yes, other agents. I've showed you some other agents that have followed the exact framework, okay? This way, you do not have to try a different miracle pills that are out there. Everybody ever thought like, oh, this sounds so good. At the end of the day, if it sounds so good, right, people would do it every single day and replicate businesses. Building a business is hard work, okay? Building a profitable business takes work, and it takes you to take action. So a big part of what we're going to talk about today is action. Now, I don't buy any leads, okay? I did not make a single phone call, so if farming for me has nothing to do with phone calls. In fact, I hate when people call me. It sounds really bad, but I do. I think it's a disruption of what I'm trying to focus on to do. And I have not knocked a single door, okay? So how many of you like when there's a knock on the door and you're like, right now, seriously? No. So all of these, here's my fame to claim, did none of that, did not sell my soul, okay? I did all of this based on this business plan right here. That's the same one that I'm giving you access to. All the numbers are on 2 pages. All the formulas are filled out. So you can literally see how many people do I need to interact with. And by the way, that numbers business plan will tell you how many people you need to interact with on a weekly basis, or how many postcards you should be focused on sending out in order to hit your income goal. Crazy, right? But there is just one thing true about real estate, and it's numbers, right? So that business plan will be delivered in 20 minutes a day increments, so it's not overwhelming, and you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. If you want to wait, that you have all the segments in place, wait 4 days and then go through 4 emails at once. It's up to you. But we did 20-minute increments because we knew you guys are busy, okay? So as my business started to grow, sounds all great, right? But something is happening when your business grows. You have a shift happening that when you are shifting your attention to your business, your personal life tends to be a little wonky. And when that happens, it's not a good place, okay? It was for me a good reminder to keep my focus. Why did I get into real estate? It wasn't to be a slave to my business, okay? So for so many of you, you are so reactive to this darn thing called a cell phone, okay? You are so reactive. If something calls right now, somebody, right, calls you right now, then you have to really consider that somebody is telling you where your time and attention should go. But that shouldn't be the case. How many of you are trying to call the attorney that you're working with? And I know we all have sometimes cell phone numbers for attorneys, but let's say you want to call your doctor, okay? Can you just speed dial a doctor? No. Put boundaries in place. Put boundaries in place. If there's nothing else you're taking away from today, put boundaries in place, okay? Stop jumping the minute something jumps. There's ways that people can reach you even when you're not answering your phone right away. If you call my cell phone right now while it's on Do Not Disturb, you're going to get a voicemail that says, hey, I am so sorry, I'm missing your call right now. However, I do have my personal assistant, which by the way is an AI robot I run out of my CRM, okay? I do have my personal assistant who can take your message and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I am not losing deals because I'm putting a boundary in place. Okay? So make sure that you really realize where are you spending your time. All right. Robert, I see your message. I just want to make sure we're going to continue going through some of the slides. I think planning, personal and business alike, is so important, okay? Because I realized that if I didn't have a plan, somebody else was gonna have a plan for me. And let me just tell you, I don't like to be bossed around. Like, it is the number one thing that I actually really, 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 really hate, okay? That personal assistant runs out of my CRM, okay? Everything runs out of one system. And I'm gonna tell you all about the system, my entire tech stack. I'm gonna show you everything today, okay? So promise, there's nothing that I'm holding back here. All right. And I'm gonna circle back to Robert's comment because it is one of the most common misconceptions that's out there. Okay, so this actually already completed part one of my business plan, right? This is how fast it goes. After I was done with that, I really started looking at my transactions for the year in the MLS, okay? Where did they come from? I'm sure it's not shocking, but 99% of my deals actually had to do with direct mail. I know, big shocker, right? 84% were listings. I had 16% of my transactions being buyers. 75% were inside my GeoFarm, 21% were from my past clients and referrals, and about 4% came from other sources, agent to agent. You kind of see the 80-20 rule appearing here. It's amazing what happens when you focus, right? So first up, why a percentage? Especially as we're entering the comparison posts, okay? I want you to focus on the questions that really matter. Start asking better questions, okay? If somebody tells you that they closed 48 million, okay, you know nothing about their price point, you know nothing about their market, okay? Ask better questions. What was your number one lead gen source? Because that probably tells you what these people are really, really good at doing, okay? Don't be impressed by crazy numbers because your market is the average price point of $200,000 and somebody sells $2.8 million homes, okay? Do not be impressed by millions. Everybody agree? I know it's hard. I really understand it's hard, but focus on the better questions. What was your number one lead gen source, okay? That is the better question. Now, personally, I had over 20 transactions attributed to my geographic farming efforts. They didn't just all sell inside my farm because there is some people that bought somewhere else. There's people that referred me. There's people that actually said, hey, I have to sell my mom's house, and that was outside. However, I had over 20 transactions attributed to my geographic farm in 2025. And this is clearly the reason why farming is remaining a main pillar today, okay? One area that I had to literally just go in. I know everything about it. I pull CMAs in a matter of 5 minutes, okay? This is the time freedom that farming is allowing us to do here. So today we're going to focus on that year at a glance specifically. So this one here is the one-page document that is literally the best possible document you could fill out, okay? January 1st rolls around. The only thing you're going to do is execute what's on this plan. That's it. So I'm also going to share with you one more rule I have. I don't do one-on-one appointments other than my buyers, my sellers, and of course my family, okay? Be smart about your time. I actually saw a really, really great post about saying no to coffee dates. And again, for some people, coffee dates are great, right? But if a lender asks me out for coffee just to get business from me, that's not a good use of my time, right? So be smart about where you're spending your time. Some coffee dates can be great, maybe, yes, okay? But that doesn't mean that you have to go and say yes to every single thing that's out there. You decide, you're in charge of your time. So first item of business that goes on my plan is my neighborhood event. That is one-to-many marketing. And my belief is that everybody needs a signature event inside their geographic farm. If you are thinking only postcards are enough, you will need to mail a whole lot more because you're missing a crucial component of being involved in your neighborhood, in being connected to your neighborhood. I've just had a call a couple weeks back, and this agent did everything right with the postcard. Okay. Granted, she got frustrated because nothing was happening, but it's like, well, I shouldn't say nothing was happening. I'll take that back. She was getting leads. She was lacking conversion. Do you know what was missing? There was literally 29 seller leads in her pipeline just for mail. Okay, she sent out a mailing, 29 leads were there waiting for her. But then nothing, no follow-up, no opportunity to actually see, is that person real? Do I want to reach out to that person? It's a flat image on a postcard, okay? The relationship does not stop the minute they are receiving your postcard. We're going to talk a whole lot more about that today. So pick your signature event. So I said earlier, there's 4 Amazon best-selling books. This one here is actually the 4th one that I have quietly released, and not because we'll probably do a launch next year about it again. But the biggest part with this book is that it is such a needed book for agents. Pick an event, and I have titled it Neighborhood Events because you're going to see that I do not need anything other than my neighborhood to invite my past clients to. So we're going to be streamlining everything that you're doing simply because you're committed to farming. Your business and your life is going to get a whole lot simpler once you decide I'm going to start farming. Okay? All right. How many of you have a signature event? Anybody? I want to tell you a little bit about mine. My signature event is a neighborhood garage sale. Okay, sounds so simple. Let's declutter and make some money before we're selling the house. People literally pay us to carry things off the driveway we would have donated otherwise before we move. Actually, I gotta plug in my computer. Thought I better bring my charger. Did I bring my charger? Uh-oh. I did. Okay. So the signature event here sounds like it has nothing to do with real estate, right? But it does. And that's what makes this one of the most powerful ones that I could have picked. I really like the garage sale. I got a little bit of history going to garage sales with my husband when we first started dating. And when you have the opportunity to select an event, right? Find something that you love. Find something that you are actually looking forward to, even if just 3 people were to show up. Like, that's the hard part. I see a whole lot of you are like, yes, I have an ice cream social, donut, cider social. Guess what? It's the social, right? It's like getting to know the neighbors. St. Patty's Happy Hour, right? 3rd annual Santa event at my house. I like it. Photos with Santa, photos with the Easter Bunny. You'll see a lot of things come in here. Food drive, 6 years in a row. Again, we're gonna look at that food drive. I would love to do garage sales, but I don't live in a subdivision. Well, there's people still living there, right? So again, signature events. There's like over 60 plus different events in that book, by the way. So if you are struggling to figure out, okay, I want to find something, maybe I'm a little bit higher end, right? Higher scale homes, garage sales not going to work for you. There's other things. There are so many other things. As in, like, we compiled over 60 different events right here, step by step. And Amazon, by the way, if you're wondering where to get this book, it's on Amazon. I published it on it. You can order it. It'll be at your house in 2 days. So that's the first thing going on my list. This is my connection point. This is my signature event that I am willing to have every single year. And it was a great way for me to help bring people together, just like the social that you saw there, just like the food drive. Actually, I dropped off a food pantry donation earlier this morning. I got my letter. I got to email that out. But that's how we piggyback off, hey, look, all of us together are doing pretty good things, right? Get them involved. Get them into what we do. There you go, Halloween event, right? Google's night out with a candy map of neighbors. Love that. You see how much creativity is there? Here's a shocking statistic. Most community events are founded or funded by a real estate agent. You guys are the backbone of so many communities without even realizing it, okay? It's really shocking. There's an entire study out there, I think NAR published it, of how many agents are actually volunteering their time, money, and resources from their businesses into these types of communities and events. And again, consumers probably don't realize how much we actually do to keep America running, if you will, right? Screw Dunkin' Coffee. I'm a Starbucks person. So anyhow, step one, event. This is the most overlooked thing that I see people forget to implement on my framework. Okay. I'm going to show you my entire framework here in a second, but this framework itself is envelopes, emails, events. And events is the most overlooked connection piece that people forget. So goes on the calendar first. This is what my year centers around. Over the years, I started adding other events. Our village, our city, does a fire station open house. There's a fun story behind it, how it started, but they do this event, and I simply said, hey, can I volunteer? Okay, can I provide a craft for the kids and make it fun, and I'll pay for the craft and I'll help promote the event? They're like, of course. So I became part of the fire station open house event that the village hosts. And we got 3 fire stations in the village. So there's 3 events that month. It's a lot, but we always make it through. Then I added pictures with the Easter Bunny because I realized that events were actually really, really powerful. And guess what happens to be also happening in the Easter timeframe? Our spring market. So if you are looking to add a signature event, okay, if it's in the summer, great. Garage sales tend to be better there. But try to front load an event towards the beginning of the year if you can, because people have real estate on their mind. You and I can argue houses will sell all year long, right? January through December. Doesn't matter. The house will sell as long as there's not a whole lot of inventory. In the consumer's mind, the best time to sell a house is when? Spring. Okay, spring market. It doesn't matter where you live. Maybe some exclusion on the vacation markets, which there's not a whole lot about or around. But again, most often the consumer thinks spring market. That's in their brain. You're not going to change that. So you might as well leverage it. Okay. So then I added a Q4 event. Letters and pictures to Santa was the next one. And now I have an event a quarter. Pretty cool. It's a lot of events. I don't think that I necessarily need to have all these events. However, I do enjoy them as well. I still take pictures with the Easter Bunny with my kids. So it's on there. I still take pictures with Santa with my kids. So it's on there. It makes sense for me to just piggyback off of it. I find it this way, two flies with one swat. Is that what you say here? All right. Now, I also get asked a lot why I don't do Thanksgiving or Halloween events. Really, the purpose here is that I just like to be very frugal with how I spend money. My farm, I told you earlier, is 56 or 5,700 homes. And giving everybody a $5 pumpkin or $3 to $5 pumpkin pies, right, is it's a lot. So that's not going to work for me. So if you are looking at, a farm and you're like, hey, I want to try this, make sure it scales with you, okay? If you think you can do that and you get a return, that's great. I have a pet peeve with pumpkins where I'm like, I don't like to be eaten. No, thank you. And I also had just an incident where I saw an agent post that something happened with the pumpkin pies and the lid was moldy. And I'm like, I don't want to message my clients, hey, you got a moldy pie from me. I'm sorry. So again, I just don't do food on that note. Okay. If you are doing it, please don't take my no for you shouldn't do it. It's just something that I personally wouldn't do. And I get asked, so I included it. Now, some of the things I do, however, and I think I saw similar stuff in here in terms of Halloween event. This one, I'll zoom in a little, is the scavenger hunt we've done for Halloween. And I actually was asked this year, are you going to bring it back? I'm still debating if we should bring it back. It's really a lot of fun. It's super easy to set up. So I'm leaning towards it. But again, have not finalized everything 100%. I'm 99% there because, still have a little bit of time. But this is something I would do instead. I also have been part of trunk or treats in the area. So rather than giving out all that stuff, right, I've given out other things like a game card, or this one here was a scratch and scan. It was fun too. So again, other things you can do, and yes, postcards, paper, really fun. These here, backdrops, I have 8 or 9 different Halloween backdrops. We have scattered them throughout the area with a map. So they can download the map, which is our lead gen tool. And this way they can then just use that Halloween costume and go around town and hunt down these backdrops. So lots of fun. So for those of you that are wondering what else could I do, right? Always think about how can you also generate leads from the event. Events are great, but you're a business, not a charity. So again, we look at a lot of ways to actually make sure people come into your world through these things. All right. Now, I also use these events inside my farm to stay top of mind with my past clients. How many of you feel like you may have a little bit too much on your plate? And when I started to realize that my farm and my sphere can actually go hand in hand, like something amazing happened and I got more time back. I have dropped my client appreciation event because I do something different now. I am double dipping inside my farm. So I don't think we as agent need more on our plate. We are all still trying to keep up with all the, things that are out there, all the changes, all the new forms, all the this, all the that, all the lawsuits, doesn't matter. We're all trying to keep up on so many different things. So for me, it became a process of elimination. Like my number one obsession is how can I make it simpler? How can I make it easier? How can I make it cheaper? How can I, streamline it? All of these things tend to be not the questions people ask. People tend to ask the questions, how can I do more? And I'm like, well, how can I have more impact by doing less? Let's do that. So Q1, text message, right? I'll use my CRM, sends a text message out. Hey, do you want to come to my pictures with the Easter Bunny? It's on this date, okay? Write it once, goes out to 100 plus people, done. My Q2 event, neighborhood garage sale. Hey, our neighborhood garage sale is coming up. It has grown so much and we need more shoppers. Do you know somebody that loves garage sales? Let me know. I can send you the link to our map for a sneak peek. Okay? I'm not calling them and be like, hey, how are you? I'm not calling them and be like, how's the family? How's the house? How's the job? Any vacation plans? Hey, are you thinking about buying or selling? I'm not doing that. Okay? People don't need that in today's market anymore. You guys know that. Q3. Hey, I know little Joey loves fire trucks. Our neighborhood fire station open house that I'm part of is this weekend. In case you're free, again, invitation. What is the number one pet peeve that people tend to have when they have kids? Their children are not invited, right? So why don't we invite people to our events? If they come or not, doesn't make a difference, right? Simply put an invitation out there. Don't hold them to it, but put it out there. Q4, we're doing our letters and pictures with Santa. If you're looking to attend, let me know and I'll reserve you a time slot. Piggybacking, that's all I'm doing. I am not doing more. The only thing that I have added for my SOI is a simple invitation. Okay, and if they RSVP, they're going to go into my RSVP flow, and then we're going to make sure that they're going to get reminders, and then they're going to get emails, and then they're going to get a text message. Hey, one more day, can't wait to see you, okay? But I don't do any of it because it's automated. But it feels like I did it. Make sense? All right. And location, we talk about location inside the book, but a lot of these events, they're all centrally located as much as possible inside my farm, okay? My farm is the people that are needing to invest their time to get to me, so I try to make it easy, okay? Park district facilities, somebody said they're having something at their house. I started having pictures at my house. I just set up 3 backdrops in front of my house and said, hey, come on by, take a picture. And that's what we started with. If you don't live in the neighborhood, park district facility. If you don't have a park district facility and it's nice outside, see if there's a local park, okay? There's so many different ways that you can go about this. And it doesn't have to be 4. Again, I grew into 4, okay? Started with 1. Let's take this away from today. 1, okay? I don't want you to go out and plan 4 events, okay? I want you to plan 1. 1. Everybody say 1, okay? 1. Okay, let's start with 1. So now that the event is on my calendar, let's talk about the postcard. The number 1 postcard that goes on my calendar every single year is the invitation to my signature event. Invitation to my signature event, okay? And this is the number 1 that goes straight in front of the garage sale. The garage sale, I have one of the largest garage sales in the country at this point. It's a lot of houses, but point being is that I need a little bit of runway. So I generally try to send it out no later than end of April, beginning of May. And the garage sale is the second weekend of June. There you go. All right. So that's the first postcard that goes on. The second postcard that I put on is my calendar. Every single year without miss, I send a calendar with an at a glance, okay? At a glance, not the tear off. And I went over the entire thing, why and so on in a calendar course. But the calendar itself is the longest standing piece of marketing. Now, if you have a big clientele that loves football and baseball, maybe you want to do these calendars. If you have a big artsy following, a big farmer's market following, a big, whatever is big in your area. Farmer markets are great, but they're kind of short-lived. Sometimes also the village special pickup schedules. That's super helpful, okay? If you have concerts in the park, like there's a huge venue, that could be helpful. Calendars have this nice thing about longevity. Okay, I like the annual calendar because guess what? It's like literally the longest calendar that's out there, but there's a lot of other calendars that work. So again, a calendar is a longevity piece of marketing. I have gotten calls from this piece of marketing 11 months after I send it. Why wouldn't I send it again? And when I go on listing appointments, guess what I see on the refrigerator? My calendar. So does it work? Yes, every single day they're at the fridge multiple times and they see my face. Do not underestimate what a calendar can do for the top of mind awareness. It is such a simple marketing tool that is truly underutilized. So make sure you utilize it, okay? So we got an event invitation and we got a calendar. Moving on. As I was going through my direct mail journey, I realized that the number 1 thing people actually want to talk to me about is not the paint color. It's not necessarily the market. It is literally, how much can I get for my house, Janine? How many of you have gotten this question? How much can I get for my house, Janine? I mean, they got instant home evaluation tools, right? Couldn't they find out there? I mean, Zillow got it displayed in most of your cases, not all. I know some of your states don't have it. Tax assessors have it somewhere. So why do they keep asking us? Because we have the actual truer answer to what their home is worth. Because we are the market. When people look at all these past indicators, right, of, hey, how's the market doing? All that market data is already 30 days old. But you know who knows the market is the person that's actually active in it. The person that is seeing how fast our homes are going off the market, right? The person that's listing houses and sees the traffic and the appointments. The person going on showing appointments and seeing a line out the door, okay? That doesn't translate into national news data and graphs until 30 days later, oftentimes more than 45, because, data has to be compiled first. And in terms of, can you share an example? This is literally everything I'm sharing with you. These are my exact postcards, like exact. Okay. Like sharing everything. So I started by adding a market update. And again, my farm was so big at that point that I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to afford this? That's a lot of postcards. So at first I'm like, I'm just going to do it biannual. Okay, so I did 2 a year. And as I realized how amazing these were for starting conversations, I said, I'm going to need to do 1 a quarter. First up, my farm was growing so big that I couldn't fit that on a postcard. So I'm like, okay, I need to update it more frequently. So I came out with every 90 days, once a quarter. Okay, once a quarter. I do not miss these. And this is where people are starting to look and be like, oh, yeah, this is like happening in my street, in my neighborhood. Okay, this is not them needing to compile anything. I compiled it for them. Now, sometimes we get the question of what if I'm in a non-disclosure state? Okay, there's other things. And again, remember the disclaimer in the beginning, there's other stats, right? I'm not saying price per square footage is great, but you can probably talk about how many homes have sold, right? You may not be able to tell them for how much, but again, this is a huge advantage. In order for them to actually find out how much the house sold for, they either need to talk to the neighbors or talk to a real estate agent. Okay, and the neighbor may not necessarily know. So that leads back to you need to talk to a real estate agent. Like you have all the power in a non-disclosure state, which I think these are great for. All right. So we've got these on the calendar. Next up, market dynamic. How can I stay in front of them more when it matters the most? And again, we already talked about the spring market. Okay. So what I do is I do like a spring market mailer in the front, and that could be a different one. Generally, I like to send out a golden ticket. Okay. So the golden ticket principle is pretty simple. It's kind of like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I was watching that movie with my kids that inspired that postcard. I get random inspiration for postcards. Yes, I create all my own. But that's where it came from. And it's really just a, hey, you have a golden ticket. Why don't you use it? Okay. And that golden ticket can be a bazillion different things. If you have not gone through my bootcamp, I talk about UVPs, unique value proposition, a lot in there. And every one of you is unique to what they do. Okay. For example, if a house needs cleaning, I will literally tell them, hey, you can hire my cleaning person, and this way it's going to be cleaned and I get to sell a clean house. It's like a win-win. Okay. So the next one is a spring picture now that I put on here because this is building my pipeline for the next year. I'm building my pipeline in September for the next year. I do not start a new year without knowing that I have inventory coming on the market. How many of you think this would give you a peace of mind? That would give you a peace of mind, right? It would certainly give me a peace of mind knowing that I'm already guaranteed to list 3 other houses. I just talked to an agent today and she's like, I don't think I'm going to have any listings. And I'm like, how are you not stressed out? Okay. How are you not stressed out? Now, are these guaranteed listings? Not until the sign's in the ground and sold, right? But at the end of the day, knowing that there's stuff in the pipeline, we'll talk about pipeline in a minute, okay, is huge. And I can already tell you, by the way, we're going to run way over that 1 hour. So if you allotted an hour and you have to push a couple things around, let me know. But we're probably going to have another 30 to 40 minutes. Just a heads up. Okay, so quick recap right here. This is that 1-page document, okay? 1 page. So far, so good. Pretty simple, right? I started with 1 signature event. I built up to 1 event a quarter. I build up to 1 stats mailer a quarter. I send out 1 calendar a year, and I have 2 USP or UVP mailers a year. USP, unique selling proposition. UVP means the same. Instead of selling, though, it's value. So unique value proposition. Same thing, 2 different terms. That is it. This is my farming plan. Base farming plan. Guess what happens January 1st? I execute that. And I told you, you guys are more than welcome to literally rip off and duplicate. If a garage sale is something that you want to do in June at the same time, by all means, take a picture, rip it off, and duplicate it, okay? Everybody's good. We are not done. This was literally part 1. So, base plan. This base plan allows me to do something important. It allows me to generate A, leads, and B, it allows me to build brand awareness. So let's talk about the only 5 mailers that matter here. And I think that is the most misunderstood part when it comes to direct mail. So we're going to get a little technical. I hope some of you will enjoy the deep dive. Again, I told you we're going to dive really deep into things. But the biggest question I get is EDDM, every door direct mail. Is EDDM right for me? And the answer is flat out, it depends. Every mailer that you've seen me put on this calendar fits in one of the 5 buckets, okay? Every single one of these fits in one of the 5 buckets. Oh, good question. I want to go back one more. Robert asked, what are you doing August and November? We'll talk about it in the 3rd segment of it, but my entire farm is not getting anything in August or November. So also June, by the way, there's nothing here in June. So there's actually right here, or March, I mean, there's an event, but there's no mail. If you want to count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 mailers. I don't mail monthly. I do not mail monthly. I know, very contrarian to what other people tell you to do with direct mail. Again, there's also a reason behind it, because you see I have events on the calendar. There's visibility. We call it a visibility score. We can run this one in a minute. We do have a brand new calculator that is based on visibility in your farm. Events and mail, there's a visibility score assigned with that. So forward, there you go. The postcards you've seen, these 8 postcards, they fit 5 types of mail that I would send EDDM. EDDM also stands for every door direct, every door, meaning everybody, okay? So you can't pick and choose. These 5 mailers, event invitation. Everybody wants to be invited. Remember how your children feel when you don't invite them. Sad. Market statistics. Everybody should be knowing what's going on in the market. Okay? Calendar. Everybody should watch Janine's face on the refrigerator. Sounds terrible, but at the end of the day, repetition. Okay? USP. What makes you stand out from the other 3 million agents that are out there? What makes you better than the discount brokerage? What is your uniqueness? Okay. And then the 5th one, which you did not see on here, is an email list builder. Email list builder. And we're still currently debating if we should be launching an email list builder to everybody and see how it performs. As of right now, we have not. We have kept it as a micro farming campaign, which we'll talk about also in a second. But the other mailer that we could launch to everybody is an email list builder. And we'll talk a little bit about email list building, why it's important. But those 5, okay? Event, market statistics, calendar, USP, email. These are 5 postcards I would consider to sending to my entire farm. Only those 5. Okay, USP, unique selling proposition, or UVP, unique value proposition. Same thing. So I do use EDDM in my farm because frankly, it's gigantic. And if I was not to utilize this medium, I probably would be not as profitable as I am. So you have to learn to understand mail. Like that's literally been my last 10 plus years, obsessing over understanding mail. EDDM has pros and EDDM has cons. I'm going to go over a couple of them with you today. Because so many agents need to figure out first if EDDM is even right for you, okay? We have a rule of thumb, and it's a rule of thumb because it's not a law, because it doesn't take into consideration your resources, but it's a rule of thumb. And the rule of thumb is pretty easy. If you mail to more than 1,000 households, so you mail more than 1,000 postcards, EDDM might make sense for you. Okay, it is like, I know, a rule of thumb. I'm going to go through it in a second. So if not EDDM though, what else is out there? Targeted mail. Okay, there's a difference between how you mail. EDDM is one way to mail. Targeted mail is the other. EDDM, all it says on that postcard is, hey, just deliver it to the person that lives on this mailing route. Okay, so when the mailman gets their job handed, they're like, hey, you are in charge of route R02. Okay, that's it. Now, if you want to reach your SOI, you send targeted pieces. Hey, this piece of mail goes to Jane Doe at 123 Main Street. Okay, that is targeted. You know exactly who it goes to. So that's the two differences. Everybody is good with that explanation so far, because you're going to need that in a second. Now, agent number one, you might see yourself there. If your farm size is less than 1,000 houses, okay, you can just tell me if you are one, feel free to drop it in. Most agents I talk to for farming, their farm is under 1,000 houses. So I can tell you, if your farm is under 1,000 houses, you're most likely better off going targeted at first. You get better response rates, you get better targeting, and you can also do more personalization. There's a lot of factors why I think targeted would be a benefit for agents as they're building a pipeline. Now there's also agent two. Agent two has a farm size over 1,000 houses. And EDDM might become part of this agent's strategy. Now that agent has to understand EDDM, every door direct mail, and targeted mail. Okay, you have to understand what might be better to use. So understanding some of these mailing principles we talk about inside our mailer bootcamp, we talk about it inside our EDDM course. And again, understanding how to mail is important. Okay, so we're going to talk about agent one and agent two. You know which one you're going to fall under. Okay, you might be agent one. I promise you're going to get something out of this in a second too. And agent two. Everybody knows which one? So the other part is that most companies don't take your resources into consideration. Okay, nobody teaches you about understanding farming that, for example, would stretch $1. We have an agent inside our ecosystem who has the ability to print her postcards in office for literally $0. Okay, nothing, doesn't cost her anything. All she has to do is cover postage. Meaning that if she prints it out EDDM, all she covers is 21 cents, I believe it is. Okay, this is really, really cheap. Most of you will not be able to have that luxury. Okay, I, example, cannot print my EDDM mailers in office. I can print a lot of things in office. EDDM mailers is not one of them. So again, every agent is unique. Every business is unique, which is why when you understand your resources, when you understand how you can pick and choose what is potentially best for you, it helps you make decisions better, like a CEO, okay? So here's the assumption for most agents. They assume EDDM and targeted mail is equal, okay? So EDDM, circle one, that's the area that I'm going to target. And then we have targeted mail. Okay, that's like a niche. For example, downsizing. Just let's say these are all the people that we think might be downsizing, and these are all the people inside my farm. Now, in the assumption, the problem is that in reality, your EDDM is a lot bigger. The route and mailman services is a lot bigger than your targeted mail. What happens? Well, you get something that we call waste. And waste is essentially anybody that is receiving your piece of mail that is not an ideal candidate. Okay? Literally, waste. Which circle has more waste? And no, this is not an optical illusion. You cannot be wrong on this one, I promise. Which circle has more waste? The big one or the little one? Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is interactive. There you go. All right. So EDDM, the big circle, has more waste. Now, it might be cheaper initially, but you have more waste. Okay. So again, waste. What is waste? We came up with a nice little acronym that we talk about. Volume marketing. Okay. EDDM is volume marketing. The problem, the W, wrong people. You're mailing households that don't match your outcome. What are you looking for? Listings. Well, they're probably not looking right now, right? Wrong people. Absent relevance, generic, impersonal, or irrelevant messaging. When you are mailing everybody, okay, you're mailing everybody with one message. That message has to be very specific. So when I tell you I have only 5 postcards that I would consider EDDM mailers, there's a reason behind this. Everybody is not getting the same thing when you're looking for listings, okay? You have absence of relevance, creates waste. Scattered strategy, right? Random, unstructured, inconsistent campaigns. So if you're looking at all the indicators here, okay? Scattered strategy, random, unstructured, inconsistent. The biggest problem is you're not surrounding yourself with people that are doing exactly what you want to do. If you surround yourself with somebody that wants to shoot a video a day and you're going to meet up with that person to film content every single day, guess what you're going to do? You film content every single day together. You have accountability. When you are creating things on your own, right, without a container of like-minded people, you get inconsistent. If you don't have to plan to execute, you can get inconsistent, okay? Too much friction. It's the other thing I see a lot. The call to action is either unclear or you have too many, right? Here's your website, here's your email, here's your phone number, here's another website, here's a call to action. It is so much that people are just literally feeling pulled left and right and left, and they don't know where to go, okay? And then access without evidence. Increasing the volume without knowing what's working is like a big, like, why are we doing this? Okay. Increasing volume, meaning, well, I sent one route, I didn't get anything really. Let's just do double the volume. And you are going to be the first person saying direct mail is a waste of money. Okay. Access without evidence. Every single postcard, I've said, somebody over here was saying it takes 18 to 24 months or something like that. I'm like, this is bananas. Like, that is access without evidence. That is how you can tell that somebody is literally just looking for that. Like, yes, it's not instant, but I do not think you need 2 years or 18 months or even a year. We actually have gotten it down to a science where we can guarantee you're building your lead pipeline with your very first or second mailing. And then we say first or second, because if you have only 250 to send the first time, we do think you need about at least 500 as a test subject. But if you send 500 postcards on your first mailing and you get nothing, we literally have never had this happen. Why? Because we've put a lot of works and reps into sending out postcards that work, okay? I want to show you, again, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you the postcards. Take a screenshot, rip off and duplicate. Your business is unique. Your form is unique. Okay, so stop trying to fit in a box, like your headshot here box. It is my personal pet peeve. I hate being put in a box. This is not me. This is not my brand. This is just a piece of paper with a little square. And frankly, I think we can do better. You deserve to be seen with your brand, okay? My brand is not your brand, by the way. I have people come in and they're like, okay, I'm just going to put my face on there. It's like, okay, if this is your brand and everything is like brand cohesive, fine. But if your brand is like pinks and purples and others, go, like, do you, okay? Build your brand, build your recognition. And your business needs brand assets. Every business has brand assets. And once you create these, you just use them over and over and over and over. Okay? So, onto our last part. Micro campaigns was mega impact. So you saw I have only 8 postcards that are going to my farm each and every year. I only mail 8 postcards to the entire farm. I do not mail monthly to them. Yet, I'm able to be extremely profitable because I eliminated the waste. And I eliminated the waste by adding micro campaigns. Okay? Your average response rate is generally about 2%. We typically get it to be double with GeoCentral, and I'll talk about why in a minute. So 1 micro campaign a month to laser focus on a target. Like that's my general what I do, okay? I spend generally about 1 micro campaign a month to laser focus on a target. And I like to test a lot of things. So look something like that. We have an entire playbook dedicated to what we call micro campaigns. Micro campaigns are the fun part that we get to when we have a foundation established, okay? So first, again, I'll walk you through the phases in a minute. But these micro campaigns could be a just listed, it could be an under contract, just sold. Again, I do a lot of listings, so I do count them as part of micro campaigns. They also could be any of the micro campaigns, and I brought you a lot of examples with visuals and postcards and all of this. So we're going to go through a couple of these, okay? But this is really targeting in, because again, my farm is over 1,000 houses. So what do? I do EDDM and targeted. Was that not on my slide earlier? Right? Exactly what I do. So micro campaigns, they go on my to-do list, okay? First up, how many of you have a to-do list? Like a rolling to-do list where you like jot down the things that you're like, oh, I forgot, I got to do this. Oh, I forgot, I got to do that. Yes, we all got that, right? And it stays on that list until it gets done. I'm like a sucker for a good list. When it remains on this list longer than what it should be, because, you know, it happens, I draw a star next to it. It is my visual clue of, oh, Janine, you're in trouble. There's a star next to it. If you don't get it done by the end of today, your boss might be pretty mad at you. I'm the boss. It is my like urgency indicator to say, why are we procrastinating? How many of you like to procrastinate? Yeah? Okay, cool. What if I tell you we all struggle with the same thing? We all have the same issue, okay? Procrastination. Do you know what? Why people get paid salaries? Because they literally get paid to do as you tell them to, okay? It fights their procrastination. Oh, I don't feel like it. Do you want a salary? It's your job to do that. We don't have that. So procrastination is real. This little symbol up in the top, this is literally what I put on my to-do list. It is like a signal to my brain and be like, put the phone in the other room. Okay, I already had a conversation about this early on where I said, if somebody calls and you let them disrupt your focus, it is by you doing that that you choose to give somebody else power over your schedule. That's why my phone is on do not disturb. I don't care what happens on this phone in the next hour. Okay, it's on do not disturb. This is what it is. So we all have the same struggles. I'm no different than you are. So here's my little hack of how I get around tricking my brain into, there's a star, you know what that means, get to it, okay? And sometimes that means that my laundry doesn't get done, my dishes remain in the sink, it is what it is, okay? Something's gotta give in order for you to create time. Time is there. You just have to choose what you're gonna let go of. So let's break down what we discussed in really one visual here. We talked about the SOI and farm, okay? I invite them to the events. My SOI also gets monthly mailers, by the way, because again, they were already able to help me pay for my mortgage once, okay? So I'm gonna continue to stay in touch. I don't call them. I just invite them to my events and I send them a postcard. That's it. That's my SOI follow-up plan. We also talked about EDDM or targeted. My entire farm gets roughly about 8 touches, okay? And micro campaigns. Now, micro campaigns for my SOI could be birthdays. Micro campaigns for my SOI could be anniversaries. Micro campaigns in my farm could be just listed, just sold, or any other niches. I brought you a lot of niches, by the way. We'll look at this. So what it creates between my SOI and my farm is like its own little system. Okay? My own little system. It's like the most simplest system out there in real estate that continues to just get bigger. It's like a flywheel, okay? Which is really cool. So some examples on micro campaigns. What are micro campaigns? Micro campaigns are truly just hand-raising campaigns. So example, if I send out a postcard and say your home value changed for 2026, and if selling is on your mind, here's your instant home value if you go to www.homevaluewebsite.com, okay? If they interact with that, they raise their hand, which allows me to now have a deeper conversation with them about what's next. I'll give you an example of what's happening right here. How many emails have I sent out about this class? A lot. There's hundreds of registrations on there. Guess what that did? They raised their hand for somebody saying, I think I want to do farming. Okay? Segmentation happens on so many different levels. You are segmenting yourself every single day with the behavior on your phone, with the behavior for your shopping. You're segmenting yourself into categories every single day. And so do your sellers. Your sellers segment themselves with their actions every single day into how ready are they. Okay? The problem is that most of you don't see the signs. Okay? You don't know when they are actually raising their hands because you're not tuned into that. So you see maybe, somebody visited my website. Do you know who visited your website? No. Right? Do you know what site they visited? No. Right? Did they come from maybe your postcard? I don't know. Did they scan your QR code maybe? I don't know. So again, a lot of these things is based on us needing to know more because these hand raisers, they're money, literally money, okay? So we're going to identify, and I know it's super small. I'll see if I can zoom in. Let's see. There is highly likely to move. Did it zoom in? Let me see. Yes. Highly likely to move. There could be a free way to get those, and there could be a paid way. Okay. I'll give you an example of a free way. How many of you have a tax portal? Remine, RPR, any of these? You can filter for an AI score of how likely are they to move, because some sort of algorithm thought if they are going to look at condos in Florida that they might be able to move, or they might go on vacation, 50-50 shot. So again, you can also pay certain lists to give you that data, okay? Pay your pain away or do a little digging and figure out how your tax portal work and get that data for free. Another micro farming, ownership time. I talk inside my farming bootcamp, my mailer bootcamp, a lot about who is currently looking to sell, literally step by step, okay? And ownership time is a big, big indicator for people that are going to list. Now, how many of you would think that maybe mailing to somebody that has owned their house for 15 plus years might be a good idea? Ignore all the other ones, right? But maybe just focus on the ones that have been there for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. Properties that are in a trust. I don't know about you, but most of my young buyers don't necessarily put their properties in a trust until much, much further down the road, when they have to make plans for what's next. And then they end up selling their house and buying something else. How many of you are focused on a trust? Street campaign, okay? There's a change is coming campaign, or simply there was a lot of activity on the street. Let's talk about it. How about rentals or landlords? FISBOs, expired, canceled. Probate, divorce, okay? We have like a really good training we've done about the 15 Ds of why people need to sell, okay? Any of these would be good micro campaigns. All right, let me zoom out again. So again, these identify higher likely to move or list properties by digging into some of the strategies here. These hand raisers all get the next CTA being a instant home evaluation, okay? That's their CTA, instant home evaluation. Until the question changes, the number one question we get, which is what? How much can I get for my house? We are not changing our call to action, okay? We don't want to be cutesy. We don't want to be innovative. You're going to do what is currently still the number one question for real estate agents. How much can I get for my house? Why are we making it more complicated? We don't have to. Now, once they become a lead, these micro-farming campaigns, we switch over to our regular monthly seller follow-up that then converts them to clients. And we use it hands-off. I have it built out for my business where just hands-off is, they get tagged and they go on it, done. So again, these are all digging deeper strategies in your farm, okay? So micro-campaign example 1. How about a golden letter? I could send a golden letter. Maybe I want to do 100 for the month. Maybe I want to do 500 for the month. I actually talked to a lender and I said, hey, why don't we try it? You get the front, I'll get the back. Give it a go together. Okay? Guess what? That's my first micro campaign for the new year. Let's see how it does. Do I know the answer? Not necessarily. I'll report back on it. Okay? But that's a micro farming example. Golden letters. The concept of a golden letter is, hey, I'm looking for a house to sell, essentially, okay? AI-based targeting. There's a postcard and a letter example, okay? For some of you, by the way, if you are inside GeoEssential, you recognize this postcard because it's the number one postcard we make you use inside the system. This is about you launching this faster to a smaller list. Yes, same postcard. And yes, please use it again. Please don't just send a postcard that works once. So again, micro campaign. You could use AI-based targeting, right? The most likely to list, or the high sell score in Remine, it's called, I believe. Another example, ownership time. Literally selling, calling people out, right? Are you selling after 20 plus years? Fantastic opportunity for somebody to say, yeah, we've owned it for over 20 years. I think it's time for a change. Would I send that to everybody? No, because not everybody has owned for 20 years. Can I find out how many people in my farm have actually owned for over 20 years? Absolutely. Again, tax records, title rep, okay? Buy a list. We have a list building tool we use inside GeoEssential. This is all easy data to get. Nothing complicated so far. Trust-owned properties, right? Oh man, ever gotten a property you were handed and you're like, man, that needs a lot of work, right? It's pointed out. Does a house need repair? Master bathroom, 30,000, kitchen, 50,000, roof, 15,000, foundation, 27,000, landscaping, 3,000, windows, 18,000, furnace, 8,000. Oh my, how about I can just help you without doing all of this? Okay. Street farming. There's a letter example. There's a postcard example. Okay. One street. Just, hey, my buyer is looking. Was the spin we put on this one, by the way, versus, hey, there's a lot of activity on your street. I just had 2 listing appointments. That was actually one I should probably send out as well. Okay. So a lot of these are simply micro farming campaigns. This one here is again, letter version. This one here is a postcard version. Any lead generation postcards, the question I see in the comment, do you send the large postcards so they stand out? All my lead generation postcards are 8.5 by 5.5 for my micro campaigns. They're all the large, half piece of paper. The size is half a piece of paper. Let me see if I have one. I don't think I do. Again, if you see a piece of paper folded in half, that's the size of it. Okay. Street farming, super easy. Really fun, by the way. I'd much rather do that for an hour a month than having to go and door knock 10 doors in an hour or make phone calls and get hung up on. Here's a letter to an investor. That's a micro campaign. How many properties are owned by an investor in your farm? It's a micro target segment. You can target them. Be like, hey, a lot of our investors have actually cashed in on the market with tenants being more and more demanding, right? What are their pain points? And upkeep going through the roof with taxes being higher than ever. A lot of our investor clients have asked me to run numbers. And because I know you own a house in my preferred area, I'm going to offer you a free home evaluation. All you got to do is go here, insert website. Okay? I know, execution is key. I'm not telling you anything groundbreaking new right now. How many of you are like, oh yeah, I should probably send that? Action. We'll talk about this in a sec. Obviously, if there's an investor, there's likely also a tenant. Help, my landlord is selling. Okay, a little bit on a fear-induced one. And I personally do not want to necessarily hunt down properties with buyers. However, if the buyer's on my farm, why not? Okay. But this one is one that you could send to the tenant. So now you have a property, you identified an absentee owner. Well, chances are somebody lives there. Okay. Why don't you also send them something? Maybe the following month. And here's another microfarming campaign. It's got nothing to do with, well, it does have to do with postcards, I guess. One of our microfarming campaigns is more a list builder, okay? This one here is a list builder that I didn't send to everybody. It is our Mother's Day campaign. It was lots of fun, by the way. And yes, we're doing it again. And we send out this little postcard. Want to nominate an awesome mom. That had our QR code in it, by the way. And all it said was that we wanted to just make sure that moms in 60192 were getting the recognition they deserve because they are really some awesome, cool, amazing people. So we sent out a postcard and we started it, and then it kind of like took on a mind of its own, and then people referred more people, and my email list grew. A lot of the husbands tended to be the ones submitting their wives. It's kind of nice. We dropped off a sign, took a picture, posted it on our page, and Mrs. Mayer was the one who said, wow, positive vibes. We got like a bazillion shout outs on this one. It was amazing. But it's what? It's a micro-farming campaign. That's actually one of the ones we're going to systematize this year. So it'll become a playbook inside GeoCentral, which is so cool. Again, it was another example of a niche within my farm. Guess what? An awesome mom lives here. Now I have a segment for moms. Guess what a lot of other of my events are? Pictures with the Easter Bunny. Mom. Picture with Santa. Mom. Okay? And mom might be grandma at this point. Mom might be grandma. That's still a mom. Okay? So a list builder allows you to really dive into the psychographics of your geographic farm. All right. How many of you are wondering, where do I start? What do I do? What's the best postcard? I'm so confused. There were so many ideas. Okay. Market update is probably one of my preferred ones because when people are ready to list, they want to talk numbers. Okay. Send it as a letter, send it as a postcard, deliver it as a door hanger. It doesn't matter. Make this your number one. Now, I also really don't think it's the what as necessarily. I just gave you the what, right? It's the path. And how will you get someone interested in selling in the next 6 to 24 months down the path of being your seller? So somebody said it takes 24 months. Not necessarily. It takes 24 months from somebody to think about selling to actually executing. That's again, NAR stat of one of their things they have published. Say about it what you want with NAR, but they do have a really good way of collecting data and stats. It takes 2 years, the thought of selling to actually executing it. Okay. But that doesn't mean that there's other people who are not much, much further down in the pipeline. I'm going to talk about pipeline here in a second. I already told you the path here for us. Envelopes, hand raisers, brand awareness. Okay. Emails, that's where we build a relationship. Events, that's where we're converting. So again, envelopes, discover interested seller leads at scale. Also, nurture your existing database. When you combine these two, direct mail is not expensive. When you are combining your SOI, your past client database, with your farming effort, you have your past client database giving you referrals and repeat business to continue fueling your farming efforts. Okay. So many people look at me and they're like, I just want to do farming. I have something in place for the other thing. Okay. Are you actually getting the result? Are you actually creating more repeat referrals and top of mind? Okay. One thing nurtures the other. This is why both of them are there. Emails, you nurture them at scale. I hate coffee dates. I hate one-on-ones. I get people asking me all the time for them. My answer is always no. Can this be discussed on a 15-minute phone call? Pretty simple. And then events. Now, open houses, they're events. Buyer consultations, these are events. Listing appointments, those are events, okay? Neighborhood events. There's always something that you can do. This is literally the funnel that I follow. And not just in my real estate business, by the way. How many of you have gotten a postcard from me? Right? How many of you have gotten an email from me? How many of you are currently here on this call? Envelopes, emails, events. It's the same funnel. It doesn't matter the industry. Works extremely well in real estate, but it also works in other things. So again, you obsess about the path, and it gets easier to focus on the activities and not just the outcome. Okay? I'm not going to give you a tactic. This is pure strategy that you are, you see, yes, me. So glad. It's the entire strategy, and you apply strategy. The tactic might be a postcard. The tactic might be a letter. The tactic might be a door hanger, right? Obsess about the path. Do you have the path laid out? Closings are the result of what? Closings are the results of actions that you took weeks or even months ago. That's what closings generated from, right? So if you obsess about the actions, closings follow as a result. Seems so logic, right? We're going to take a quick detour into human psychology. Results are based on actions. Actions are based on how you feel. Feelings are based on how you think about things. Again, very crazy, right? But your thoughts dictate your feelings dictate your actions dictate your results. Man, we are so easy to figure out. So what about that pipeline? If closings are the results of action, right, that you took weeks or even months ago, actions are the things that fill your pipeline. Actions fill your pipeline. Now, the pipeline fills your funnel, okay? The pipeline fills your funnel. And the funnel, with that, fuels your closings. Do you want me to go back and go over that again? Pretty simple, right? Closings are the results of actions. When you take action, you do what? Every action shouldn't be leading to a closing. The action leads to filling your pipeline. I was asked about a week ago, how quickly can I expect a listing? I love that question. I'm like, I will never promise you a listing. Anybody that promises you a listing, you should run away from. I will promise you a filled pipeline. I'll show you in a second too how filled. Okay? Because that pipeline will then fuel your funnel. You are putting people into that. It's like a faucet. Send a postcard, the people pipeline falls into the funnel. It's kind of cool. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about that secret segment. I know, the bribe. Let's see. We still got some of you guys holding out for that one. What does action look like? Okay? This is your prospect in action. The question is, what happened in the front for the prospect to actually go ahead and take the action? Right? What happened back there? What makes them think, oh my gosh, yes, I got to do something? There's 10 reasons, and if you've read my book, you've seen them before, that the prospect takes action. They want to make money, okay? Well, my house is worth so much, I got to make some money on it. I want to save money, okay? My taxes are going through the roof, I got to save some money. They want to save time. It was a great idea during COVID to buy the house 2 hours away, which now is a nightmare to get to the office every day. They want to avoid effort. Okay, man, my entire kitchen needs to be remodeled. I don't want to be displaced for 3 months. Maybe we'll just go buy a new house. They want to escape mental or physical pain. They want to get more comfort, achieve greater cleanliness or hygiene, to attain better health, gain praise, feel more loved, increase their popularity or social status. Okay, oh, I live in this neighborhood now. So again, these all here, by the way, are from a guy named Jim Edwards. And some of these are most likely why you showed up for yourself today. How many of you want to make more money? Or how many of you want to save money? Because you've done postcards and you're thinking this is totally like expensive. How many of you want to save time? Right? I keep pounding the phone, or I'm tired of delivering Popeyes. Avoid effort. I don't want to do the Popeyes, right? I just want to click a button and it goes out. Many of you want to gain praise, like maybe from your spouse. Hey, I'm so glad you finally made this thing in real estate work for you. How many of you want to feel loved, right? Like, hey, somebody believes in me. And how many of you are saying, you know what? Yeah, if I could sell my houses, I'd be the #1 agent in my office. Look at all that popularity I'm getting. Okay. Wouldn't it be nice to have your name coming up as the #1 agent in the office? I know some of you are like, oh, I don't care about that. Yes, we all do. Most of us in real estate are extremely competitive, and some of us have egos. So there's that, right? Personally, for me, I do all of that by leveraging direct mail. So I'm going to be straight up with you. Traditional farming and mail can be labor expensive. Like if you have actually physically stuffed envelopes before, like it seems so simple and it takes so long. And you're like, man, this is like forever. Okay. When I got started with farming, I did all of that. I ordered inventory. I stuffed envelopes. I sealed. I stamped. I did paperwork, trips to the post office, right? Leftover inventory. Name it. I did it. And I also had a business to run. How many of you are running that thing solo? Not just me. I know that. Okay. You keep up with seller leads, you have buyer leads, you have past clients, happy birthday messages, happy home anniversary messages. You got to create annual home anniversary snapshots, post on social media, keep up with the latest AI this, AI that. Crazy. And so much more, right? And in addition to that, you also had showings to do, sellers to inform, and by the way, you have a life. Yeah, okay. It's like being the restaurant owner and doing all the jobs yourself. So again, for me personally, is I needed to put a system in place. The system I needed was not there. There was no system that did exactly what I wanted. I had a tech Frankenstack monster. So what I ended up doing is I created a system. I'm going to tell you a little bit how this system works. And yes, it does include unlimited free printed postcards. That is one of the big parts why I love my microfarming campaigns, because I'm very profitable with them. So I don't stuff envelopes. I don't go to the post office, right? I don't do a whole lot of that anymore. However, my signs continue to go up in the ground. It's great. Again, over 20 transactions from my farm. That is amazing. And at the same time, I didn't miss a beat in my kids' lives. I'm home for every time the bus drops them off, right? And I don't use my children as the excuse as of why can't I do something? I structured my business around my life because I'm a very big control freak apparently too. And it helped me be there at the places I wanted to be at, right? Without sacrificing being there for them. They've been with me since they were babies. My second born actually went to a closing 10 days old. It was super cute. So again, all these leads here, I actually make my invisible pipeline visible. So there's 2 ways that postcards actually do get leads. One is the blatant opt-in or the phone call, right? Somebody's like, okay, I'll fill out your form. I do this, I do that. And then there's the way that is not visible. The invisible hand raisers, because they're still raising their hand. They're just not shouting it from the rooftop. So if you scanned any of my postcards, I actually got a text alert. It says, hey, Shauna scanned my postcards on this mailing. I literally know when somebody scans any of my postcards. When they raise their hand, I'm interacting with you. I'm here, okay? So the geographic farming playbook We have it systematized. I don't know if I have it with me. I don't think I do. And distilled down to literally 12 weeks. And I say 12 weeks because we found that this is the time frame most agents are comfortable with. Okay. We have people go through it in 2 or 3 weeks and install the entire system, because farming takes a system, it takes a net, right, to make sure that you are actually perceived as the authority. When you have hand raisers come in, most people, just like that agent I told you about earlier, right, they have 29 people sitting in the pipeline they did nothing with. And I'm like, well, we have an entire system. Why are you not building it out? Because it's work. It is work. Let me tell you, it's work. So I'm going to offer you that playbook and all the tools, okay? Because I really do think that when you look at building your own system out, it is better than any assistant ever could be. My system doesn't sleep, doesn't call in sick, follows up like clockwork, okay? And honestly, like, my AI assistant is literally working right now while I'm here because of this system. Doesn't get much better than this, right? So I'm going to break down what systems are there. Part of this is, yes, all my marketing material I give to everybody inside GEOessential. They put their brand on it. They learn how to publish their own books. For example, these here, I wrote these books. I help people literally publish their own. This is our buyer version. Okay. The boxes, have you seen the boxes? Yes. My boxes are less than $7. Again, most people spend that on a custom box. When you understand how to do something and you understand how to publish a book, my book is less than $3, printed and shipped to me. I treat my book like a fancy business card. I hand them out like nothing else. Why? Because I'm so profitable with them. Okay? Because when you understand the how to go about it, you just give on to every possible seller lead you can find. Like, that is our number one goal for this year inside GEOessential, is to make sure everybody has a seller book to give away. Some of them already do. There's a lot of them that actually do. Not everybody, though. Because this is the number one business card in today's world that is still carrying value. Okay? It's still carrying value. Yes, books carry value. A lot of value, actually. So what does it look like in real life? In 12 weeks, you're going to go from unknown, really, right, invisible, to somebody that is known in your neighborhood with a simple postcard system. It's really backed by clear steps. There's weekly coaching, easy templates, milestones, check-ins, all the good stuff. You have to show up. You have to show up. So somebody was saying, it takes 24 months. I'm going to give you an example, and I left the timestamps on here. We had an agent, and she joined us inside GEOessential. She joined us on November 3rd, 2025. And we gave her our roadmap, and we said, here's the roadmap. We literally went through everything step by step, and she implemented. She got a list. We gave her our 3 months, the first 3 months farming campaign, okay? She is at 19 seller leads, probably a little more now. She has sent out 536-ish mailers, I believe, okay? Just over 500. 19 seller leads in her pipeline. So that was December 8th. She got her first scan. December 9th, a day later, in 1 day, she got 8 scans. 2 completed the form and fill out all the info, so 10 total. And last I talked with her, she was saying 19, it's somewhere on video. December 19th, she's now working on Playbook 2, which is all the micro-farming complaints. And she has her first preview appointment from her mailer today. So again, does it take 24 months? No. Is it instant? No. Does it take effort? Yes. Okay. There's still steps that have to be completed because her business is different from mine. The steps are the same, but she has her own voice. She has her own way of talking. Okay. Trying to run a real estate business by just launching somebody else's stuff. That's not you. That's not authentic. And when you are not authentic, guess who's the first person who can tell? That possible seller. Okay? Be unapologetically you. Best advice I've ever gotten. So what does the system look like? There's really 4 phases that she has created. Here's the 4 phases. The first one we call our lead mail engine, right? You need to understand how to launch a postcard direct to print, because these postcards need to be set up a certain way. So you're going to learn how to do that very first thing, because if that doesn't click, right, that's a problem. So we walk through step by step by step. There's literally training calls twice a month about this too, including like a bazillion replays. The next thing we're going to fix is that retention loop. So many people think, oh, my clients know me, they will call me. Then you see them at the store and you're like, we bought a house. You didn't call me? Okay, got to fix that. The retention loop is there because when your database grows, 5 clients, 50 clients, 500 clients, what are you going to do to keep up at each and every stage? If you're trying to fix something 180 clients in because you're exhausted trying to keep up with them alone, okay, that's a little late. Build a system that can grow with you. That's what we're going to do in the retention loop. It's staying top of mind for clients forever. It's hands off. It includes birthdays, home anniversaries, all the good stuff, to make sure that you are perceived as a person that cares and is in it for the relationship. Okay, that's the important part. The follow-up fix, that is where we are taking our drip emails essentially and our CRM, and we are going to personalize it to you. And if you are currently launching any drip campaigns from your brokerage, I asked you, have you put yourself on them? Because most of them are absolute garbage. So fixing that, because nobody talks like these brokerage drip campaigns are sounding. Again, if you have not set yourself up, maybe try it, and you are appalled on what goes out with your name, by the way, on the bottom of it. Then we'll talk about the mailbox follow-up. This is truly where the sellers are starting to get into our world. And yes, it's all fully automated. So by putting all these systems in place, it looks like there's like playbooks. Let me see if I can fix that. Let me see. Did they come? Oh, see, they work here. All right. Every system has separate playbooks, and these playbooks are really what gets installed step by step. So how long? I would say about an hour working on your business. For every hour you work on your business, you should dedicate an hour working in your business. So if you are out showing 5 hours, right? Maybe you should also dedicate 5 hours that week to work on your business. The biggest problem we have with people is that they are thinking you are just there to show houses, okay? You are building your entire operating system. You are building out what your business looks like. You are in charge of chartering the course of what your business is doing. That is probably one of the hardest lessons people have to learn in real estate. Nobody's going to be like, oh, go do this. No. They might suggest it, but guess who's going to still have to charter the course? You. And that is responsibility that not every agent can handle. So what happens after we install those systems? I get asked a lot, how do I sell as many houses as I sell on the little time I invest? Okay, systems. Systems are in place. The fact that I can launch to hundreds or thousands of people with the same amount of effort is because of a postcard. I put in here roughly about 10 hours saved, right? If I was to go out and deliver it by hand, or if I was to record videos on TikTok and being like, I don't do those, right? That's hours saved. Following up with my past clients. Happy birthday, how are you, right? I'm so glad we reconnected. I don't do any phone calls. Retention loop, done. 10 hours saved a week, okay? Follow up, oh, I have to text this person, I have to do this, I have to do that. Follow up, fix it, done. 10 hours saved. Mailbox follow up, 10 hours saved, right there, okay? I want to stay top of mind. It is so simple that people overcomplicate how simple this can be. all these things that we're doing here with a system, you have literally to do personally right now. Either that or you pay somebody. Those are your two options. But somebody's got to do it if your business continues to run. And if you don't do these, then there's holes in your business. So build a system. So phase one, right? That rock solid foundation, you need your number one lead generation tool. You need to understand your numbers within your geographic farm for profitability. You also need to understand how our print portal works to send out your first smart QR code postcards. That's all we focus on phase one. After you have completed that, you're going to have your number one lead magnet in place, which is what? Instant home evaluation tool, right? You will have found a profitable geographic farm, and you will have sent your very first postcard. It sounds so simple. Believe me, how many people overcomplicate the very first postcard? Okay? I know. We try to get them through, and it's not a lot of people, but sometimes it's a disconnect, right? So we work through it until it clicks. Phase two, it's leveraging birthdays and home anniversaries. You will have cleared your plate for these recurring tasks. Birthdays come every year, home anniversaries come every year, and with a compounding database, you have to put a system in place or you will invest more and more of your time. I had a gentleman on my call a couple months ago, and he said, I have 400 people on my past client database. I do have an assistant, and I ask her to check in with everybody once a quarter, and it takes her a solid week. A solid week. 1 week salary. Okay? How much does an assistant make right now? Let's assume, I don't know, $50,000 a year? Ballpark? Maybe? Let's break it down. If there's a different number, by all means, feel free to correct me. I'm just going to assume $50,000 a year right now. Okay? Divided by 12 gives me a monthly income of $4,166. It takes her 1 week, so I'm going to divide it by 4. That is $1,000. I just paid $1,000 for this person to do that. $1,000 a month. How many of you would want to pay me $1,000 a month for a system like that? That's crazy. Okay? Put a system in place so you do not get to this kind of like lavish spending that is not needed. Okay? That's a big part. Repeat and referral business. Huge. Then we're going to start plugging the holes of your lead bucket. Okay? There's 2 parts to this. Phase 3 is part 1. And it talks about email lead conversion through story selling. There's a buyer and a seller version. Getting a CRM personalized. And it gets set up in a way that allows us to do a 30-minute rebrand. I have a lot of agents right now that are going through a 30-minute rebrand because they changed brokerages, they got new headshots, and guess what? Their business is up and running in 30 minutes without disruption in changing systems and changing that and changing land. Like, it's all done. 30-minute rebrand. We love this one. Open house form setups. Again, combining everything in one system is the best thing I've ever done because I used to have a separate open house sign-in form, and then I had to export and import my leads from it. And guess what I never did? Export and import my leads because, I just wanted to go home. Now it all streamlines over the same interface, and it's like they're right there. They get followed up with, they get an email, and if they left a phone number and a text message an hour after they visited saying, hey, thanks so much again for visiting. I just really wanted to see if there's any, feedback you had for me or the seller, and any other questions that came up. So again, it's a very, very tight run system that I now don't have to be like, hey, let me email that lead. It's the same stuff we say anyhow. You might as well just make it sound like you and automate it. So again, by the end of the phase 3, you have built that email follow-up that actually sounds like a human person and not a Fortune 500 robot that nobody wants to read. I hope this email finds you well. Okay, enough poking fun of things. And then phase 4 is my favorite one. We are adding 2 additional lead magnets. One is a moving guide funnel, one is a staging guide funnel. And you're also going to create your seller mailbox follow-up, the CMA boxes, a buyer mailbox follow-up, and a buyer VIP box. So again, by the end of phase 4, what people have in place is a complete mailbox follow-up circle for top of mind awareness. And this is then helping clients continue seeing you without you being on the hamster wheel. That is all happening in 12 weeks or less. Now, again, it could be 7 months. That is a matter of your action, okay? Installing a system is truly something that's becoming more and more necessary. We are so time-strapped. If you are not operating on some sort of system and you're operating on yourself, you are feeling that strain. Like, this is not new news by any means. You need to have a system, okay? Your computer runs on a system, your phone runs on a system. Why is your business still flying by the seat of how you feel? That is your income. It is not worth the gamble of, oh, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling like you can show up for work today? You need a better system. So again, we have included inside these super tools because I think they are just literally important. When you have a system, again, yes, my system is GeoCentral Pro. We have the unlimited free postcards. Yes, unlimited. Yes, no minimum, no maximum. Yes, UV coded. Yes, included with the personalization tool. And yes, to the next business day turnaround time. Those are some of the most common questions we get. So the personalization and the QR code technology are probably one of my most favorite tools to use. When I get somebody to scan my QR code, they not only give me a notification, but I start them on an entire follow-up plan. All of it. Hands off. Like, they start themselves. I don't start them. I build it once. I'm like, somebody scans this QR code, they're going to go on my salad drip. I set this up once, that's it. I'm done. But every single person that goes on it, right, they just put themselves on the follow-ups. It's a dynamic QR code. It's a smart dynamic QR code, not just a dynamic QR code. But yes, the QR code technology itself doesn't require a code. You do not have to enter, a special 8-digit code specific to your address. That specific QR code gets generated on our postcard for our targeted mail. This does not work on EDDM. Again, we talked about pros and cons, right? EDDM has cons. It might be more affordable, but it does not allow you to dictate what EDDM postcard goes to which household. Need something better for that. And we do have something better, but again, that's the scope that we're not going to cover today. You want to talk nerdy postcards, I can do that all day long. Personalization is another big part. When you see your name on a piece of mail, I almost feel like we want to test run this one. Or your address, or maybe your house. Do you think you're going to pay more attention to it? If I sent you a postcard and it has your house on it and said, hey, I was driving by your house the other day, do you think you're going to pay attention? Or I can just send you another random postcard with, a happy smiling dog face. Not sure what that has to do with houses. Personalization can make a huge difference. So again, something else that we added in. I already told you about the moving guide funnel and the staging guide funnel. There's over 20 different lead magnets that we actually pre-created for members. Like, we just updated our paint color guide. What color is right? And obviously this one here is all screenshotted. So right now it would say what color is right in 2026. Gets updated. Get ready for game day with 48 tailgating recipes. You got that pre-built. Help, my landlord is selling. Okay. There's another one. What's your home valued at? And then it auto updates to the year. Discover 9 loan programs to purchase a home in 2024. Unlock the secrets to winning your dream home. Pre-written, all done. Get the ultimate moving guide, ultimate staging guide. So again, all of these here, there's another quizzes, webinar funnel, buyer funnel, because sometimes you do want to have a different call to action in your email. What we also get is, well, are there any templates? We have over, I don't know, there's a lot, probably over 400 different templates as of right now. There's a lot of them in there. Different ones, we've kept adding to it, postcards, letters, there's actually social media posts, there's checklists, you name it. There is anything in terms of a resource you can probably need. I just went through my listing SOP. So right now I'm working on getting our SOPs in there for our admins. So it's one of those things where if there is a template, we have it, members get access. It's kind of fun. So you don't have to sit in front of a blank screen and be like, oh, what do I want to do today? Take what works, okay? Take what works. All right, are there any resources for creating the shock and awe places? We have literally written 2 complete courses on the buyer box, the seller box, the book. Everything's on there. Very step by step. It's like a toolbox. Our toolbox has like over 70 different tutorials in it. It's really a fun place. It's kind of like a rabbit hole. We have to pull people out and be like, oh, focus on what's ahead. So is this another coaching program? I get asked a whole lot, and I keep telling people the same thing. I want to tell you the same thing. I'm not a coach. I am, if anything, a bootcamp instructor, a facilitator. I'm here to train, not to babysit, okay? It's not a course. Yes, there's courses in it. It has a CRM in it. It's not really just a CRM. It's not here to leave you fired up and then figuring things out. It is literally a system built out that you're doing. It has the tools, it has a system. You have to come with a mindset of wanting to build something that lasts. If you're looking for shiny, glitzy objects, please, please, please do not do this. This requires work, okay? This is a big part. Do we give our addresses of the area that we are wanting to farm? I have no exclusivity on any of it. You have your own neighborhood. It's the nice thing about farming. It's very collaborative, okay? Zip code exclusivity, in my opinion, is the biggest waste of people's money. Because guess what? They will sell the zip code twice all day long, just like Zillow does. Doesn't make a difference. They tell you exclusivity and nobody means it. So again, we don't do raw mindset stuff. We do a whole lot of tactical trainings. So step by step by step. Take a step, get a checklist, do this, okay? It is for the people that want to build, create for the long term. And we do not do assigned coaching time slots or anything, okay? Okay. Andrea's rewording her question, so I'll keep going. We don't gatekeep. Again, every single strategy I am executing myself, and I will add hundreds of leads this year again in my farm. It's not something that we tried once where you're like, oh, is this some old content? No, we're still doing that today in this market, however market we're going to end up in, because that's still a mystery, right? Nobody saw COVID forthcoming and how this would turn out in real estate, but yet here we are. At the end of the day, farming is not new. The spin we're doing with farming is technology advanced, sure, okay? But farming is not new. I'm not trying to tell you like this is the most newest innovative thing. No, farming's been around for a long time. If you have veteran agents in your marketplace and they are farming, ask them, how did you survive the market crash? I've asked every single person that I know that farms how the market crash affected their business inside their farm. Do you know what they said? It didn't really matter because people trusted me, that they came to me because they really were up shit's creek. Excuse my language, okay? Trust. Farming establishes trust. And now you have a whole lot of technology to actually make farming smarter than just hammering them with postcards, which is kind of fun. So best time to get started? Honestly, 30 years ago. Postcards were like 39 cents. How many of you would have liked to mail with 39 cents a postcard? Yep, me too. However, not a possibility. So I do think the cost of waiting is something that we all experience as of right now anyhow. How many of you would have liked to launch a Facebook ad when Facebook ads first came out? right? Cents on the dollars for leads. Sure. Now try to get a booked appointment for like $300 to $500 per booked call. Worth it, sure, because why not? But you have to also invest $300 to $500 in order to get that phone call, just a phone call. Doesn't even matter if you close it or not. Well, postcards are the same. They've kept going up and they're gonna keep going up. I do think postcards will end up at over $1 a piece. I really do think so. And that's fine. Because when you start something and you get your foot in the door, that barrier of entry keeps other people out. It's already keeping other people out. How many of you thought about maybe I shouldn't farm, it's too expensive? Okay, I'm good with that. Keeps you out, okay? That barrier of entry is going to get bigger, not smaller. Postcards are not going to get cheaper on stamps. So again, best time to get started, 30 years ago. I would have loved to send that. Second best time, no. And that's just simply based on numbers. So geographically, we use GeoEssential. I've talked about GeoEssential a whole lot, but every single thing I talked about today is inside GeoEssential Pro. There's a monthly, there's a quarterly, and there's an annual option. The longer you commit, the better it comes out to be. I think the monthly is like $250 a month, and the annual option breaks out to like $166 a month. Same stuff. You just decide what makes sense for you. GeoEssential Pro is where most of us focused on farming in the US are all coming together. There's hundreds of agents focused on farming. Surrounding yourself with people doing what you want to do. The brainstorming on one topic, well, two, SOI and farming, is amazing. What are people wanting to do? The sharing in there is probably my favorite part, okay? Because when you have other people farming, you can bounce ideas off. And you don't feel worried about competition because they are in a different neighborhood. Okay, so that's kind of the fun part behind it. GeoEssential.com has the pricing on it, always has. So again, I'm not selling you into anything that's not out there. Okay. The postcards follow USPS pricing, which currently is first class stamp for the 8.5 by 5.5. And the postcard 4x6s are postcard stamp. So again, Google or the little pink bubble that is inside geoessential.com will also tell you. So bottom right, there's a little pink bubble. Just ask them about postage and they have the most up-to-date pricing. That's the system I use, the entire back-end system. Okay, the entire back-end system of running my business, again, I pay for it personally because business write-off, right? My entire real estate business, my tech stack runs on $166 a month, and all I worry about is the postage cost. So $166 a month, because obviously I paid the annual, because, makes sense. And if you look at all the things you're currently paying for to keep your business running, and just running it at scale. Again, if you're brand new, you can probably still get by with a Google Sheet, okay? But if you're getting to like an 8 to 10 deals and you're wanting to grow without necessarily working more hours or actually reducing hours, eliminating, like that became my obsession. Eliminate what I have, simplify what I have, eliminate the duct tape, eliminate the Zapier craziness. Eliminate, all the different login places. Like that was for me the biggest part. I got tired of being seen as a walking paycheck. I'm sure many of you can relate because everybody thinks real estate agents should just pay for more. And I think it's complete garbage, right? So it's a matter of one system that runs it all. I'm a fantasy nerd. I like Lord of the Rings. So, right, the one ring that rules them all. So again, one system that runs it all. The only other system that I have and I don't pay for because my MLS provides it for free is an instant home evaluation tool, which currently for me, that is Cloud CMA. So again, that is what I use. That is what I run my entire business plan through. This is everything that I'm using to execute the farming plan we went over. We covered the one-page plan. in a view, okay? I told you what mailers I selected and why I consider these EDDM mailers, which do you use EDDM or not? We went over that, right? Are you agent 1 or agent 2? We talked about the micro farming campaigns that I launched to identify hand-raising people. We talked about the event. We talked about the personal assistant that answered my phone while I was on here with you. And again, I hope it was helpful to see as an overview, because January 1st, all I do, execute, execute, execute. All right. That was longer than expected. Thanks so much for staying on. And I hope you have grabbed your business plan. Work on that one, right? See where your transactions came from. And maybe you're going to be surprised to learn that all your transactions came from social media and you should do nothing with postcards. I mean, I still think everybody needs a geographic farm, right? That's a completely different conversation. But analyze your business. See where your business comes from. And if you are all over the place and you just want time back in your schedule, you need a geographic farm. You need to put your markdown, your service area down in a hyper-local market, because otherwise you're going to continue to be dragged all over the place. Okay. And let's see, Robert says delivery times. I can tell you I get mine within 4 to 5 business days. And it goes from Utah to Chicago. So longest delivery times if you're currently on the East Coast or in Florida, all the way down on the bottom of Florida. So we got a couple members that can tell you probably, but I've never had somebody say it takes 2 weeks, other than if there's a holiday maybe in between. Probably be careful on saying never, but holidays do happen, labor laws and all. So, all right. Well, thanks for hopping on. Again, if there's other questions, by all means, Joanne says the delivery is quick. Again, I agree too. But I do also know that our East Coast people are the furthest from our delivery standpoint, so from our facility. So again, I'm not going to say that 4 days is the norm, because I know it's not. It's a matter of location. The closer you are to our facility, the quicker you will get. All right, well, that was fun. Again, I hope you have your farming plan. We talked about the overarching. Oh, she's East Coast, actually. See, there you go. My gosh, Robert, you're breaking my heart, Robert. He's like, he stopped doing just listed, just sold, never got anything from it. Have you had success with them? It is my number one micro campaign that gets me generally more listings. I have a wonderful book called Success with Just Listed and Just Sold Postcards. Includes 70 plus different templates. Highly suggest to check it out. It is on our website as well. All right. We can talk postcards all day long. If you do want to have some other conversations on it, by all means, hit me up. I always open for conversation. And Facebook Messenger, you can text the number that you texted for all the freebies today I gave you. It goes directly to my phone as well. So action, okay? Closings are the results of action. And actions fuel your pipeline. Your pipeline fuels your funnel gives you closings. It comes back down to this one thing: take action, do something. Okay, leave today with do something. Our website has 2 of my books, and all 4 of them are currently on Amazon. We have not brought all of them over because it does take a lot to set it up. But 2 of my books are on our website for a little less than Amazon has them, and all 4 of them are on Amazon. So, all right. Thanks again for everything. I hope we have the farming plan mapped out, and spread the word. Give somebody. Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.